What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a new review of the one and only F4U-1C Corsair, one of my favorite planes in the game. With its beautiful purring engine and fast firing cannons of 20mm, you gotta love it. Before we get any further into this review, I wanted to clarify that prop planes and jets have their own categories. This way, prop planes that have actual good climb rates won't be suppressed by the jet stats. Without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and break this plane down. Alright, Posh, let's start off with the Corsair's turn and roll. Right out of the box stock, this plane comes equipped with some pretty sweet combat flaps. Now, unlike other planes with combat flaps, the Corsair's combat flaps actually work. If a bandit's on your 6 and you need to turn and turn hard, go ahead and deploy those combat flaps and pull as hard as you can while keeping the plane within reasonable G tolerance, and you will really surprise your pursuer on your 6. And sticking with the trend of combat flaps, the Corsair rolls much better with them, and almost to the point to where the roll is actually pretty reasonable for that size of an aircraft. With the turn and roll discussed, this plane earns 8 out of 10. I'm serious, the combat flaps on this plane are dirty. Next up, durability. Durability in the regard of how much punishment the Corsair could take is a moderate mention, as it can take a lot of small arms fire and some cannon before it needs to return to base. But be warned, the Corsair has a high probability of catching on fire, unlike other planes. As for structural durability, if you need to get an enemy off your tail, hey, turn the music down, man.
Now, montage time!
I don't know what that was, guys, but let's get back to it. If the enemy's on your 6 and you're in the Corsair, all you need to do is dive, as it is one of the fastest diving prop planes in the game. And if your pursuer is stupid enough, he'll chase you and break his wings off, just because his plane won't be as fast. With the punishment and structural integrity taken into account, the Corsair earns 7 out of 10. Next up is energy. The Corsair's energy retention won't disappoint, but it won't make you feel invincible. The thing with the Corsair is that once you get the speed and don't do anything too stupid like trying to turn fight an AI HE51, then you should be fine. But if you choose to, your energy will suffice and you will be swarmed. With the reasonable energy retention of this plane, it gets a reasonable score, 7 out of 10. Climb rate is next. As of right now, the Corsair's climb rate is below average. An example is having to turn climb in order to achieve a decent combat altitude. Now, when I say turn climb, it's not just doing a spiral up, it's, climbing out a little bit and then coming back to your base, climbing up a little bit and then doing the same and then engaging. So it takes a lot of time and it's kind of annoying. But in the upcoming patch, the Corsair's climb rate should be on par with many of the German planes. D13. I'm just kidding. But with the old climb rate being fixed, the Corsair earns a solid 8. Next up, firepower. For the firepower, the Corsair sports an impressive quad 20mm with 924 bullets coming out at 231 per gun. This plane can really stay in the fight for a long time. Also, for ammo types, I suggest omni-purpose, as it has high explosive fragmentation incendiary shells and armor-piercing tracer shells that alternate back and forth, giving you the fastest HEFI to APT ratio in any shell loadout for this plane. And end result spits out over 5.5 kgs per second, giving this plane a solid 9 out of 10. Up next, top speed and on deck is X Factor. As said before, the Corsair has one of the highest prop dive speeds. When I say highest, I mean the plane doesn't start shaking until you penetrate the low 900s. With this speed, you can really surprise macho jet players who somehow get into your game. At this speed, the Corsair earns a perfect score of 10 out of 10. Last up, but not least, is the X Factor. From this review, you have learned that the dive/top speed is one of the best in the game for prop planes, and if you combine the top speed with the Corsair's firepower and ammo capacity, this plane is a huge threat to opponents, earning a surprisingly 9 for X Factor. Looks like the Corsair earned 58 points out of 70, a pretty well-rounded plane with buffs coming in the next updates. Thanks for watching, pilots, and may you always end up on a 6. Peace out.